Show. Be inspired, be empowered. The Anouk Show. Thursday morning on GSSL Radio. Hey.
Are you ready to expand your knowledge and deepen your understanding of theology in a diverse, inclusive manner? Look no further than Peace Multicultural Theological Seminary, also known as PMTS. Open enrollment for 2025 is now available. Embark on an educational journey that celebrates diversity and fosters unity. Register at www.pmts-seminary.com. Don't miss this enriching opportunity at PMTS. For more information, call 888-505-8987.
Are you looking to amplify your brand? Well, look no further. Linked Superpowers is the company for you. Linked Superpowers is a cutting-edge global branding, social media, and PR agency. They help to reshape professional visibility and influence. They've been in business for a decade now, and they are on top of the game with proven results. Reach out to Linked Superpowers at www.linkedsuperpowers.com.
The Anouk Show. Yeah. Anouk Hey, Show. What you say? Anouk Show. Be motivated. Anouk Show. Yeah, yeah. The Anouk Show.
Hey, this is your girl Anouk, and welcome to another episode of The Anouk Show. This is your go-to inspirational radio show designed to inspire, motivate, encourage, and empower you every step of the way. Today, we're diving into a powerful topic, God's plan. We'll explore the importance of trusting in God's perfect timing and how embracing His plan can lead us to extraordinary places. So whether you're facing challenges, seeking direction, or simply wanting to deepen your faith, this episode is for you. Get ready to open your heart and mind as we uncover the beauty of trusting God's plan. Let's embark on this journey together.
The Anouk Show. Yeah. Anouk Hey, Show. What you say? Anouk Show. Be motivated. Anouk Show. Yeah, yeah. The Anouk
Good morning. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31 is a reminder that speaks to the strength and the renewal that comes from waiting on the Lord. Waiting on the Lord, the verse emphasizes the importance of waiting on God. In our fast-paced world, it can be challenging to pause and trust in His timing. Waiting doesn't mean inactivity. It's about being patient and having faith that God is working in our lives. When we take time to seek Him through prayer and reflection, we open ourselves to the guidance and strength. Renewed strength. The promise of the renewed strength is a beautiful assurance. Life can be exhausting, and we often face challenges that drain us emotionally and physically. However, when we turn to God, He replenishes our energy and spirit. This renewal isn't just about physical strength, it encompasses emotional and spiritual vitality. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles. Soaring like eagles, eagles are known for their ability to soar high above the storms, using the wind beneath their wings. This symbolizes rising above challenges and finding perspective in difficult times. When we rely on God, we can navigate life's storms with grace, knowing that we have the strength to rise above our circumstance. Running and not fainting. Truths can inspire us to lean on our faith during tough times, knowing that we are equipped to overcome. This is your inspirational moment by Minister Derek Renter.
It's inspiration time. Come on and renew your mind. Everybody, it's inspiration time with Anouk.
Life may twist and turn in ways we never expect. But remember, every detour is part of God's divine navigation.
Trusting God's plan is the anchor that keeps our souls steady amidst life's storms.
What seems like a disruption is often a divine redirection towards our true purpose.
In every moment of uncertainty, God's plan is gently unfolding, teaching us patience and resilience.
When doors close, trust that God has a better one waiting to be opened.
God's plan unfolds like a masterpiece. While we see only the brushstrokes, He sees the entire canvas.
Faith in God's plan allows us to transform our fears into stepping stones toward our destiny.
Just as the stars align in the night sky, so too will our lives when we surrender to God's perfect timing.
God's plan is like a symphony. Each note may seem alone, but together they create a beautiful harmony.
In moments of doubt, remind yourself that God's plan is greater than momentary setbacks.
Yeah, hey, what you say? Be motivated. Yeah.
Today we have truly a remarkable guest joining us, Mr. Arville Hall. He is a music giant and a marketing genius. He has worked alongside so many celebrities. He was the head of marketing for Adidas, the global marketing consulting for Fila, and the head of marketing for Polo Grounds Music and RCA record labels. He and his partner Philip Triggerman Price formed a dynamic duo known as the Showboys. More than 3 decades ago, they recorded a track called Drag Rap, and this song ended up laying the foundation for New Orleans bounce music. Well, he's originally from New York and now currently resides in Shreveport, Louisiana, and he is the growth advisor for Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's G Unit. And now I'll turn it over to Mr. Arville.
Well, hi, Anouk. Good morning. And it's a blessed day because we both woke up this morning for this interview. So thank you very much for having me. And it's a pleasure being on your show, and congratulations for all the success on your show. And it's just great being on here because God led me to your hometown, Shreveport, Louisiana. And that's some of the story I want to tell today, how I had to include God in my corporate journey to go the distance for this particular project. And I believe this particular project is part of my service to God. I believe through my journey, and I've had such a journey to this point, thank God, I'm able to look back and look at how God has worked in my life and put all of these great gifts in front of me that has brought me to this moment in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm a big believer that God puts you through where he wants you to go back to. And I don't think that's necessarily the place. I think it's a plan that God has for all of our lives. That there's a Goliath in all of our lives, and I made a T-shirt for myself to remind me of that. That says, "I am David, and God has already prepared me for my Goliath." And my Goliath happened to be Shreveport, Louisiana, just as David's Goliath was Goliath, something bigger than he's ever seen, something probably that everybody from the outside thought he couldn't do. But David did it because of the belief he had in God. And I believe all of God's plans with which is the training and the gifts you are given in your life to learn during those seasons. So I'm from New York. I'm Arville Hall. I'm from New York. I was in the music business, still in the music business. I created a record in 1986 that is now the most sampled hip hop record for hip hop. And again, why I keep saying this is God's plan, I'm just executing, is because coincidentally or no coincidentally, because that's God, how God works, that record has now become the base or the foundation for a genre called bounce music, which is unique to Louisiana. So I made the record in 86 that's now the most sampled hip hop record for hip hop, and it started the genre of bounce music in Louisiana, and I'm now living here. And I was brought here again through music. I at one point in my career was head of marketing for Clive Davis' new label J Records, along with president of Polo Ground Music Brian Leach, and that job as head of marketing for both brands um, for Polo Ground J Records, and I actually got the job as head of marketing for Fila USA at the time, and that brought me here to Shreveport, Louisiana, which we signed an artist named Hurricane Chris that had 5 platinum records, the biggest record, A Bay Bay, which brought me down. That was my first introduction to Shreveport. From there, I went back to New York and I opened the restaurant. And that restaurant ran its course. It was called Hollis Famous Burgers and Hip Hop Museum. And I left that restaurant and I end up with all my accolades of most sampled hip hop record in hip hop. I was head of marketing for Adidas for 16 years. I was head of marketing for J Records and Fila at the same time. I was head of marketing again for RCA after the merger with other music companies. And I end up leaving New York with 2 bags, and one of them was mostly white tees because I wear white tees a lot. And I left New York with all my accolades to end up on my brother's couch in Atlanta. And again, God does that to us sometimes. He gives us all these gifts, but that's a part of a season. It's a part of a learning season. And then just like Job and others in the Bible, sometimes those gifts are stripped away, right? Because those were learning gifts. Those were things that was going to help you on your way to your destiny, which when your destiny and your gifts collide, you will turn around and serve a God bigger than you've ever served in your life. So that's the journey that God put me on. He's given me great gifts in my accolades in business. And then he put me on my road. He put me on a road to him. And what God did for me was different, I think, than some others' awakenings, because he awoken me to my job here, which is to serve. If we all have a breath in our body, we are here to serve. We are disciples of God, and we should be serving. And he awoke me to that job, and in that awakening told me we are like people that was sent to work and forgot our job. So thank God for him waking me up to what I'm here for. And thank God for learning that when I'm also receiving the gifts for my purpose to serve God's commission, which is to make this place on earth as it is in heaven. So now I'm in Shreveport. I helped that young artist get a deal, and $80,000 into that deal, we find out he has a separate deal, which makes the label I got him a deal for here in Shreveport part ways with him. When they parted ways, I stayed because I seen the potential in Shreveport. I seen a Shreveport that I didn't see when I was down here with the label signing a 15-year-old. Now I see a Shreveport that is vacant. The whole downtown was vacant. It was in the communities, hundreds and hundreds of abandoned homes and dilapidated, blighted properties. It wasn't the Shreveport I seen when I came down, which was its own unique style. One of the most highly educated cities I've ever been to. Everyone goes to college. It's a college culture. So I just seen great potential in Shreveport, and God made me aware of this as my service. So I began to come up with the ideas from the learning in the seasons that God has given me in this profession. I was able to see quickly through marketing. He made me head of marketing for Adidas for 16 years, that this problem that Shreveport was having was fixable. Shreveport whole downtown literally is almost vacant. And in my assessment, I have a company called NOCO Management and ENT, and NOCO for me stands for no coincidence. Everything is God. And in my assessment of Shreveport, I found some very crucial things that I don't know if Shreveport understood what they were up against. And the biggest thing I found was that after the workforce of the movie industry left Shreveport in about 2009, at that time, Shreveport was the second most used film facility in the nation. And if you equate workforce to being the second most used film city, that has to be a huge workforce that helps Shreveport maintain that number 2 spot. Movies like Olympus Has Fallen, The Guardian, 206 major movies were made in Shreveport. And when the film facility left, what happened was the workforce left with it, which put Shreveport on what they call a shrinking city list, where Shreveport rose to number 2 on the nation's most shrinking city list and rose to number 4 on the slowest growing economies. That then showed me that the vacancies that were downtown was a product of being on this list, because this is the type of list businesses look at to see where they're not going to go. So immediately I knew that this was a false narrative, and if I was able to get people to see the opportunities that I believed Shreveport was capable of, I knew they would see what I see. Second problem Shreveport was having was all of the dilapidated properties in the neighborhoods, in the communities. And they were having a large gun problem, meaning young people with guns shooting each other. So all of these ideas, I believe, were ideas that can be helped with a greater opportunity from outside. So it became my mission. And in marketing 101, when I find and identify what I believe is great product, and I believed even in the vacancies I saw, now that I knew what the problem was, I believe Shreveport was great product. So now my plan was no tricks up my sleeves, no gimmicks, no games, just get this good product in front of as many people as possible. And those people should see what I see. So I went to start bringing people to this city. I brought music mogul from New York, the first one to go to Atlanta, Deb Atney. I brought her here. I brought Yandy Smith here, who's another New York mogul that moved to Atlanta. I brought Mona Scott here, the founder of Love and Hip Hop and that very successful franchise. I brought to Shreveport. I brought Master P here. I brought all kind of executives here for them to see what I saw. At some point within this process, before pre-pandemic, I went to Dallas to meet a lawyer and heard that Curtis 50 Cent Jackson was there in Dallas signing autographs for his liquor brand. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson in my history goes way back to our neighborhood in Queens, where I met him as a young man, a teenager, working with Jam Master Jay of Run DMC, the most historic hip-hop group in hip-hop. And we were all from the same neighborhood, and I met Curtis Jackson there. So when I heard he was in Dallas, I went and I told him about Shreveport and told him all the great things I think Shreveport can be for his business. This was pre-pandemic, and right after that, the pandemic hit. And it was 2 years before 50 can give me a call, which was last year, February 14th, on Valentine's Day, simply asking me, does Shreveport still have the tax credit for movie filming and television filming? Thank God, God tells you, preparation, success is when preparation meets opportunity. So thank God, God had prepared me for that phone call. I told them not only do they have the film taxes, but they have much more. And I would just want you to come to Shreveport and see, and I believe you'll see what I can see. So fast forward to now, 50 came to Shreveport. I gave him a tour of the city. And again, no one tells Curtis 50 Cent Jackson what to do. So thank God he sees what I see completely. And since he's come here to Shreveport, he is now neck to neck with being the most, having the most properties in downtown Shreveport. We strategically are staying on plan to revitalize and renovate Shreveport, but not just downtown, in the communities, in the schools, mentoring, trades, bringing all of the opportunities to this great little city that is not the third smallest city in Shreveport. It's the big city of the Arklatex. So since 50 has come, population has already started changing. We have articles showing that Shreveport is on the trajectory to being the second most on the trajectory to being the fastest growing population in the nation. Shreveport is on the trajectory of being the second biggest city in Louisiana. And all of that was from heavy online promotion directly from Curtis 50 Cent Jackson himself, with a viral statement saying, all roads lead to Shreveport. That gave the workers that left the confidence to know that he is bringing his movie business here, and they've already started returning. Then 50 set his sights on downtown, the gateway. Every GPS to Shreveport brings you to the same exit, Market Street and Spring Street off of I-20, which goes all the way from all the way from Atlanta to Louisiana. So what Curtis knows is that his film facility, now that people know he is definitely coming, will become a tourist destination. People will get off of I-20 to go and see his facility, as they do Tyler Perry in Atlanta. But what he understood, if he didn't out of his pocket and his own generosity, begin to buy and renovate and revitalize their downtown gateway, he would be doing a disservice to the city. And he would be bringing out of town travelers, never been to Shreveport, and showing them a downtown that would probably have disappointed them. But in that, he's already bought enough properties to make the gateway of Shreveport look like a new, vibrant downtown that people will be surprised at and very, very happy to be in Shreveport and celebrate its new, vibrant downtown. Then he set his sights on workforce. We knew that in growing a city and using examples like Las Vegas and New York, Times Square and Miami, all of the biggest vacation places, because we know with these opportunities, Shreveport will become top 5 in the nation for visited cities by tourists. So he started to work with the city and building their workforce. Unlike any other entrepreneur, philanthropist, he's come into Shreveport and actually started working on infrastructure like workforce. And he had a workforce call that people were able to work for what came next, which was the Humor and Harmony Weekend. And this weekend was put together in 90 days. And this was an event to rival the Essence, which is put together in a year. And this weekend showed the future of Shreveport. There are 13 million people under 200 miles from Shreveport's downtown. And this weekend showed that Shreveport will become a dominant tourist destination in this region, in the South, nationwide, and then the world. 50 Cent brought in a spear, which he called the G-Dome, that gave a new shape to Shreveport's downtown. He brought in all kind of events, 100 and so A-list celebrities that was their first time visiting Shreveport, and this weekend showed that Shreveport was capable of handling these big events. And not only that, it showed our proof of concept, which says entertainment can become the fuel for change for a city if done deliberately. All of these things I have to go back because there's too many pieces within this whole story that I cannot take credit for. God's journey is for all of us. God's plan is for all of us. We're all connected. The Bible says, subdue the earth with the presence of the kingdom. That means all of us doing our own Goliath type things together and separately, but it comes together to subdue the earth with the presence of the kingdom. This has been a fascinating journey for me because when I was learning, I was learning. Then God changed my season into a walk to Him with what I've learned. And then God put me in the situation to use those gifts He's given me in my season of learning. And then thank God for accomplishing my walk to Him. And I had to use God in this journey to go the distance because the only way I got here was through God faith, God belief. Those words that we hear that we think we say it, but are we saying it for habit or do we believe it? God is good all the time. When things got quiet, I leaned on that. God is good. When things looked like it was going left, I was here 7 years working on this plan. When things looked like it was going left, I had to say, God is good all the time. And He showed me that through this whole process because we are here now and everything that God promised happened. And the biggest thing I leaned on was when it's quiet, let God work. When you don't hear anything, God is working. So my message to you today from my journey, my testimony, thank God for everything he's put into my service for his commission, which is to make this place on earth as it is in heaven. My message to everyone is, if you want to get through this place with the most peace possible, go back to God. Go all the way back to the beginning. Go back to God. Get back in awe of God. Find something to make you see God and all his greatness. Get back in awe of the creator, the architect, the designer, who is God. You wouldn't walk up to a Picasso and say, if you add green, I think this would be perfect. God's creation is perfect, and is perfect in us, is perfect for the plans we have. All you have to do is go back to God, get in awe of God's design, and you will begin not to question it. You'll see a homeless person on the street, and instead of seeing a homeless person, you'll ask yourself, I wonder what God is doing for this person. And then you'll do your job. And since God had you lay eyes on them, you'll go lay hands on them and touch them and give them something to help their journey be a little easier from where you saw them. So let's all get back in awe of God and his design, and then that will get us to respect the plan he has for our lives. And then we can follow. I wear my cross on my chest now, so I don't lead anymore. I follow God's plan, and that's my message to you today. God has taught us. He has protected us. He has sustained us. It's time for us all to wake up, realize that we're at work. The place we go to work is not God's plan for us. That's how he sustains us, by the blessing of that. But our job is to wake up and serve, be kind, be loving, be thoughtful. If you are every good word, how are doors not going to open for you? So that's all that happened to me. God is opening doors because I've learned how to replant myself in him. He's woken me up to my gifts, and I'm using all of those gifts now to serve. And just remember, we don't talk to ourselves. We are communicated to, and then we have our own actions. So God bless you today. Thank you for hearing my story. I hope you hear your story in my story and know that my story is your story. God just has a different plan of people for me to reach, as he has people for you to reach, and then we all bring them home to him. So keep an eye on Shreveport, watch God work. Keep an eye on me, Arville Hall, and watch God work, because this is God's plan. I'm just executing, and I pray that God reveals the plan he has for you in your life, and we meet somewhere in the middle with all our sheep, and we bring them all home to God. So thank you very much for today.
Wow. Wow, that was so powerful, Arville. Arville Hall. God is doing a thing, and we will keep our eyes on Shreveport, and we'll keep our eyes on Arville Hall. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Check out www.linkedsuperpowers.com and let them take your brand to the next level. www.linkedsuperpowers.com.
If you want to be entertained, pick up your copy of the book Never a Dull Moment by Ronald Eric McIntyre. Available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Well, we all know that laughter is the best medicine. So for the next few minutes, let's try to refill our laughter prescriptions.
Good morning, Anouk. Today I want to talk about a time when I was in college, an undergraduate. I had gone to church all my life, a Baptist church. But I went to college, and one of my coaches had taken me and a couple other guys on our team to church with them. Now, in Baptist church, we used to take 2, maybe 3 collections, but at this church, it was called Church of Nazarene, they were taking I may be exaggerating, 10 collections. I mean, I couldn't afford to go to the church, just all the collections. And I didn't want to sit back and let people walk past me and take their money up and I'm sitting in my seat every week. So me and one of my college mates, we came up with an idea. We copied $1 on the copying machine and just cut it out. So we were putting in a copy of $1 or what we call monopoly money. So every time they came around, we had no problem putting money in the basket. And so sometimes they come around with the basket. Sometimes you had to walk up front. We were glad to get up and drop our fake copied dollars in the basket. But one Sunday, our coach is up there speaking, and he calls us up to the front, and he introduces us to the congregation. We had been going for a while, but he says, hey, I coach at the local college, and these are some of my athletes here. He says, oh, by the way, these are also some of the guys that have been putting the fake money in the basket. So I was so humiliated in front of the church. And the pastor jumps up and says, oh, those are the people that's been putting the fake money in church. And all the girls that we were looking at in church, they're looking at us like we're these bad people, and everybody's looking at them like, these are the ones with the counterfeit money and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to jail. But no, what they did is they made us put flower beds down. We cut the grass. I even taught Sunday school one day. I kind of told them what not to do in Sunday school one day. And that's my story this week.
Oh my God. I better watch and check every dollar bill that you give me.
Girl, I've been giving you fake dollars for years. You didn't realize that.
Look at this counterfeit. I tell you. Well, Ronald McIntyre, thanks for joining us again in the studio and giving us another prescription of laughter.
Glad to be here. Have a great day.
And that brings us to the end of another inspiring episode of the Anouk Show. Today, we explored the profound topic of God's plan and how trusting in His timing can lead us down unexpected and meaningful paths. Our heartfelt thank you to our wonderful guest, Arville Hall, for sharing his incredible journey. His story serves as a testament to how, even in the face of challenges, faith and resilience can lead to remarkable outcomes. Arville exemplifies how embracing God's plan can not only change the course of our lives, but also uplift others in our communities. As we conclude, I encourage you to reflect on your own life and trust in God, and He can guide you through your trials and triumphs. Remember that every step on your journey has purpose. There is beauty in the waiting and blessings in the unfolding of His plan. Thank you for joining us today. If you found inspiration in this episode, please share it with a loved one and continue to spread positivity and encouragement. Until next week, keep believing in His plan, knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Have a blessed day, be inspired, and keep on keeping on.
All right. I pray that you've been inspired.
Protect your peace. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. He will keep you in perfect peace. Keep your mind stayed on Him.
The Anouk Show. Be inspired. Be empowered. The Anouk Show. Thursday morning on GSSL Radio.